first problem is x plus 2y is equal to 5 and x minus y is equal to 1. We are supposed to solve for x and y simultaneously. So what we do first and foremost is we label each equation. This is equation 1, this is equation 2. We want to take the equation, preferably the one with a coefficient that has 1. So in the first equation, x has a coefficient that is 1, okay, but y has a coefficient of 2. In the second equation, x has a coefficient of 1, y has a coefficient of negative 1. So let us go for the equation 1 and make x the subject of the formula. When we do, remember, x and 2y are added together. So when you want to isolate x, you transpose the 2y, it becomes negative 2y. And we say this is equation 3. Then we substitute equation 3, which is this equation, into the equation that has not been touched or handled. So we handle this equation so that it becomes equation 3. We are going to take this equation, right? We want to substitute equation 3 into equation 2. So as we take equation 3 and substitute it in equation 2, what does that mean? It means where x is in this equation, this is where x is in this equation, we are going to substitute in brackets 5 minus 2y. So basically 5 minus 2y is going to replace this x. So let's do that. We write equation 2. So write equation 2 and sub equation 3. So as you write equation 2, that means in the place of x, we are going to write 5 minus y. So here, we're going to write 5 minus 2y in brackets. This x has been replaced by 5 minus 2y in brackets. Then we follow it with minus what? Y is equal to what? 1. So in the place of x here, we have substituted 5 minus 2y in equation 2. So 5 minus 2y minus y is equal to 1. Now we can solve for y. So when we do, remove the brackets, 5 minus 2, I take the 1 that's outside, distribute to the 5, it becomes 5. Take the 1, distribute it to the negative 2, it becomes negative 2y. Then we say minus y is equal to 1. Now we can solve for y. Negative 2y minus y is negative 3y equal to, we take the 5 over 1 minus 5. So negative 3y is equal to what? What's 1 minus 5? 1 minus 5 is negative 4. Right? Then after doing so, we are going to divide. Divide what? Both sides by the coefficient of y, which is negative 3. Then we get y is equal to positive 4 over 3, because the negative divided by negative is a positive. Now that we have y is equal to 4 over 3, we are going to sub y is equal to 4 over 3 into the equation that we prepared, which is equation 3. So here in equation 3, x is ready to get the value of itself by substituting a particular y value, which is this one. So let's go there and say x is equal to 5 minus 2. In the place of 2, we are going to write, what are we going to write in the place of 2? We are going to write this y, which is 4 over 3. Then, what's 5 minus 2 into 4 over 3? Bodmer says we multiply 8 over 3, right? Because minus 2 times 4 over 3 is 8 over 3. Then we subtract 5 minus 8 over 3. You can grab your calculator there, or you can use your understanding of LCD, that the LCD is 3. So therefore that means we are going to form an equivalent fraction whereby the denominator is 3, which is 15 over 3. Then 15 minus is 7 over 3. So this is the value of x. Therefore 7 over 3 is the x value. 4 over 3 is the y value. And you end right there. Let's look at another question. We're going to solve for x and y using the substitution method. We have 3x minus y is equal to 10 and y plus 6 is equal to 6. So let's write them down. So if I look at this equation, I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, look at the equation that has a coefficient of 1. So this has a coefficient of 3, negative 1. So we say this is equation 1, coefficient of 1, coefficient of 1. This is equation 2. So we are going to take equation 2 and make x the subject of the formula. Take the y over, becomes negative y. We want to say this is equation 3. Then we are going to substitute equation 3 into the equation that we did not touch. So we used equation 2 to write equation 3. We are going to substitute this equation in equation what? Not equation 2, because it's the same equation as equation 3. We're going to substitute equation 3 into equation 1. So that means we are going to write equation 1 whilst substituting into it equation 3. So let's do that. That means where x is in this equation 1, we are going to substitute in brackets 6 minus y. So here is equation 1. Let's write it down. 3, this 3, followed by an x, but in the place of x we substitute 6 minus y in brackets, followed by what? Minus y, followed by what? Equal to 10. Hello Iron Woman, I hope you are well. Thank you for joining my live. So like I said, in the place of this x we're substituting 6 minus y, alright, in equation 1. So we say 3, followed by x. Which x? This 6 minus y we replace x with. Right? So 3 into 6 minus y, followed by what? A negative y, followed by what? Equal, followed by what? 10. Then we are going to distribute 3 into 6 and 3 into negative y. We get 18 minus 3y minus a y, which is equal to 10. Alright, so far so good. Then we are going to solve for y. Negative 3y minus 3y, our like terms give me negative 4y. Take the 18 over. When I take the 18 over, which is positive, it becomes negative on the other side. Then I have negative 4y is equal to negative 8. Then I divide both sides by the coefficient of y, which is negative 4, which gives me y is equal to 4 goes into 8 how many times? 2 times. Negative divided by negative is positive. Once I get my y value, I need to get my x value. So I'll take my y value, substitute y is equal to 2 into equation 3. It's ready. Equation 3 is ready to accept the y value so that it can get the actual x value. So we take x is equal to, we take the y value, we substituted 6 minus 2. X is equal to 4. So our y value is 2 whilst our x value is 4. Then we conclude, we write our answer in coordinate form. The x value is 4 whilst the y value is 2. This is an indication of our point of intersection of the two equations. Let's look at another one. 3x minus 2y is equal to 8 and 4x plus 2y is equal to 6. 3x minus 2y is equal to 8 and 4x plus 2y is equal to 6. Let us use the substitution method again and solve for x and y. Here we are required to solve simultaneously for x and y. So once again, this is equation 1 and this is equation 2. If we look at the two equations, we would want to take the equation that has the coefficient of 1. But unfortunately for both of these equations, we do not have a coefficient that is 1. Coefficient of x is 3, coefficient of y is -2, coefficient of x is 4, coefficient of y is +2. So what we do is we can take any of the equations. Let's take equation 1, for instance. Alright, and there, let us make one of the variables the subject. So we take the -2y over to the other side. Okay, then we divide by the coefficient of 8 of x, which is 3, both sides. Then we get x is equal to 8 plus 2y over 3. This is equation 3. Right? This is equation 3. So what we did is we took any of these two equations. We took equation 1. We made x the subject of the equation. How? We isolate the 3x, we take the -2y over to the other side, the -2y changes to +2y. Then the coefficient of x, which is 3, we divide by it left and right. Okay, then we get x is equal to 8 plus 2y over 3. That is now our equation 3. Now remember, we are going to substitute equation 3 into the equation that we did not touch. We used equation 1 to get equation 3, so the one we have not touched is this one. So we are going to write that equation 2, whilst substituting equation 3 into it. So let's write that equation 2. It is what? 4, followed by what? By x. But remember, the x is going to be what? 8 plus 2y over 3. So we're going to substitute 8 plus 2y over 3 in the place of x in equation 2, which is this equation. So let's go and substitute that. In the place of x in brackets, we write 8 plus 2y over 3, followed by what? Plus 2y, followed by what? Equal to 6. Now that we are here, we are now going to solve for y. So this 4 is multiplied to the 8 plus 2y. So I'm going to write 4 plus 8 plus 2y. I can do that because the exponent here is 1. If I apply the exponent here, it just removes the bracket and I simply have 8 plus 2y in the numerator because it's 2 terms. But it's all over 3 plus 2y is equal to 6. Now that I have a fraction for one of my terms, I'm going to find the LCD. Remember, the denominator for 2y is 1. You don't see it. The denominator for 6 is 1. So the lowest common denominator between 3, 1, and 1, the LCM between 3, 1, and 1 is going to be 3. The lowest common denominator. Then I take this LCD, I'm going to multiply each term of fraction by the LCD. Why? To remove the denominator. By so doing, multiply each term by the LCD. So if I multiply this whole entire term by 3, what happens? The 3 and the 3 cancel. Multiply this one by 3. Okay, so I have now 4 into 8 plus 2y. Remember, the cancellation leads me to 3 divided by 3 is 1. So I'm left with 4 into 8 plus 2y in the numerator. Plus 3 times 2y, 6y. Remember, I'm also going to multiply this term by 3. So 6 times 3 is 18. Now the denominator is gone. I can solve for y. Distribute the 4. 32 plus 8y plus 6y is equal to 18. Then 8y plus 6y, that's going to give me 14y. I take the 32, which is positive, I transpose it, I get negative 32. Then what's 18 minus 32? 14y is equal to 18 minus 32 gives me what, guys? Gives me negative 14. Now I'm going to solve for y. Divide by the coefficient of the y variable, which is 14. I divide by 14 on the left and the right. Get y is equal to, what's a negative divided by positive? It's negative 14 divided by 14 is 1. I'm not done yet. I'm only having y. So now I'm going to substitute y is equal to negative 1 into equation 3. So let's go to equation 3 and substitute. Here I'm going to get x is equal to 8 plus 2 into y is negative 1 over 3. Remember, equation 3 here it is, x is equal to 8 plus 2y over 3. So in the place of y, I'm going to substitute the negative 1 I got. 8 plus 2 into negative 1 over 3. That is 8. Positive times a negative, negative. 2 times 1 is 2 over 3. That gives me 6 over 3, which is 2. Okay, 8 minus 2 is 6 over 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So I can now write my x coordinate is 2 and my y is negative 1. Remember, the x and the y value that you're getting here for your simultaneous equation is actually what we call a point of intersection if we are talking about functions. These are two linear equations, guys, right? And they are representing two straight lines that are intersecting at some point. And so where they intersect, that is basically the x value and the y coordinate, the y value where they intersect. So that is basically what we are talking about here if we are looking at graphical form. Right. Okay. Right, so that was a nice question. Nicely answered. Let's proceed. Okay, let's look at this question. X over 3 plus y is equal to 4, and x plus 7 over 4 minus 3y minus 1 over 2 is equal to 3. So I'm looking at this equation and I'm looking, this is a linear and that's also a linear. It's just more complex. This one more simpler. So what I'm going to do, this is going to be my equation 1 and this is going to be my equation 2. So what I'm going to do here, okay, is I'm going to actually make this equation a little bit more simplistic. How? I'm going to basically look at x over 3 plus y is equal to 4. I think I can basically use the LCD here and multiply, so that I can get rid of the denominator. I want to get rid of the denominator and multiply by the LCD. So here the denominator has 3, y over 1, that's 4 over 1. So the lowest common denominator here is 3. I'm going to multiply each term by 3 in the from the get-go. So the 3 and the 3 cancel. I'm left with x plus 3y is equal to 12. Okay. And x is equal to, I'm going to transpose the 3y, 12 minus 3y. So now I have an equation 3 from equation 1. Okay, it's a linear equation. All right, then I can take this and substitute it into equation 2. Okay, I think we can do that. Okay, so we are going to substitute equation 3 into equation, the one we have not touched. So we touched this one and we got to make x the subject of the formula by basically multiplying each term in the equation by the LCD, because we could see that, hey, we have a problem there. It's a bit complex, and if we do that, we want to have a linear equation without a fraction so that we can make x or y the subject. Okay, so Here, we could easily make x the subject because it has a coefficient of 1, right? And we got x is equal to 12 minus 3y. If you look at the other equation now, we're going to substitute equation 3, this equation, into this equation, which is equation 2, the one we have not touched. So let's go here. In the place of x, we substitute 12 minus 3y. So let's go 12 minus 3y in the place of x, plus 7 over 4 minus 3y minus 1 over 2 is equal to 3. So you see here, you could nyeleti mushwana, you could do that if you wanted to. I mean, you could make equation 4, right? If it would make life easy by multiplying by the LCD, which is 4, right? Then you would basically have equation 3 and equation 4, and then you could take equation 3 and substitute it into equation 4. If that works for you, 100% correct, you'd still get the same answer. It's just that I am just looking at the fact that, okay, I've taken equation 1, then I made equation 1 to become equation 3. That equation 3, I'm just going to substitute into equation 2, right? And then deal with the whole LCD thing whilst equation 3 is substituted into equation 3. I mean, into equation 2. But if when anyeleti mushona you want to actually make equation 3 from equation 1 and then make equation 4 from equation 2, then you can deal with equation 3 and equation 4 and simplify in that sense. That would also be 100% correctly done. Not a problem. Okay. So in this numerator, we have negative 3y, 12 plus 7 is 19. That's all over 4. Minus 3y minus 1 all over 2 equal to 3. Now, in fraction equations, we did say that if we have two terms in the numerator, it's better to put those terms in brackets. If we have two or more terms in the numerator, put those terms in brackets before you identify the LCD and multiply by it. So we are going to do that. Multiply each fraction by the LCD. LCD is 4. Between 4 and 2, LCD is 4. So we're going to multiply this by 4, that by 4, that by 4. When we do that here, the 4 and the 4 cancel. We are left with negative 3y plus 90. If we cancel the 4 and the 2, we are left with 2 at the top, 1 at the bottom. We take the negative 2, we distribute it into the negative 3y minus 1. It's a negative 2. Negative 2 into 3y minus 1, which is equal to 3 times 4. Now let's simplify. Negative 3y plus 90. Take the negative 2, you distribute. Negative 6y. Negative times a negative, positive 2 is equal to 12. Now that we are here, like times like, negative 3y minus 6y is equal to 12. Take the 2 over, minus 2. Take the 19 that's positive over, becomes negative 19. We know that terms that get transposed, their signs change. We have negative 9y is equal to what's 12 minus 2? It's 10. 10 minus 19, negative 9. So now we divide both sides by the coefficient of y, which is negative 9. What we do on the left, we also do on the right. That leaves us with an answer of y is equal to 1. Then we can go ahead and sub our y is equal to 1 into which equation? The one that we prepared, which is equation 3. So we are going there into equation 3. We are going to take the y is equal to 1, go and sub it in the place of y. So we say x is equal to 12 minus, in the place of 1, what are we substituting? Y is equal to 1. 3 into 1. What is that? 12 minus 3 times 1 is 3. 12 minus 3 is 9. So x is equal to 9. Now, it's very clear that our x coordinate is 9, our y coordinate is 1. This is basically our point of intersection. of the two lines that are linear, that basically gives us this x and this y value when we solve simultaneously. Okay, so yeah guys, that basically is how we would answer this question. It looks complicated at the beginning, but very simple and straightforward when you actually get into it, into the mechanics of it. Okay, grade 10 linear equations, simultaneous equations, very straightforward. Once you get method flowing, it is not complicated at all. Very nice and simple. Let's do one last one before I head out. One last one. One last one. 4x plus 3y is equal to 100, and 4y minus 9x is equal to 12. So here I'm just simply using the substitution method. There's another method called the elimination method, but I'm not using that at the moment. If you join in tomorrow's live lesson, then you'll see me use this, the elimination method. Okay, and we are trying to revise some of the basics, grade 10 simultaneous equation. Here we have 4x plus 3y is equal to 100 and 4y minus 9x is equal to 12. Okay. Yeah. So very interesting thing here. Look at this. I want to show you something very interesting. Here, alright, if I did this, I said 4x is equal to 100 minus 3y. Right? Then I made divide by the coefficient, which is 4. I get x is equal to 100 minus 3y over 4. This is my equation 3. Remember, labeled equation 1, labeled equation 2. I form a third equation out of one of these two equations, either by making x or y the subject. So I decided to make x the subject of this equation. Alright, x is the subject. See how I got 3y over, it becomes negative 3y. Then I divide by 4 to get this first equation. Then I'm going to sub equation 3 into the equation I did not touch. Equation 2 you did not touch, so you substitute into that. I usually call this the virgin equation. It's not touched. This one has been touched and manipulated to become this equation. So it's equation 3. But then you take equation 3, you go and substitute it. You can substitute it back into equation 1. It's not the virgin equation. You take equation 3, you go and substitute it into the equation that has not been touched. So substitute equation 3 into equation 2, and that means in the place of x in this equation, you are going to substitute who? 100 minus the 3y over 4 in brackets. So let's go and write this equation. It is 4y minus 9 followed by x. So in the place of that x, we are going to substitute in brackets 100 minus 3y over 4. Put it in brackets, you substitute it. Followed by what? Equal to 12. You see how easy this is, guys? Now, 4y minus 9, you just put this 100 minus 3y in brackets. The reason you can easily do that is that the exponent here is 1. That exponent is not going to change anything in the numerator or the denominator. So we can just retain the 100 minus 3y as a binomial in brackets for negative 9. And then we write everything over 4 equal to 12. You see? Do you see what I did? Because there's no exponent 2. If there was an exponent 2, I would have applied the exponent at the top and write 100 minus 3y to the power 2. Then apply the exponent at the bottom and it would have been 4 squared, which is 16. But we don't have that. This is 1. Okay, so that's why we have 100 minus 3y, the bracket, multiplied by negative 9 over 4. You say equal to 12. All you now do is find the LCD. Denominator of 4y is 1, you don't see it. Denominator of 12 is 1, you don't see it. So between 4 and those 1s, what is the LCD? It's 12. So what you do is you multiply each of these terms by 12. When you multiply 12 times 4y minus this 12 divided, you see, I take the 12 and the 4, you can cancel because it's not across, it's multiplied outside the bracket. So 12 and 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 12 3 times. So you have 3 times 9 here, which is negative 27 into 100 minus 3y is equal to, what's 12 times 12? 144. Yeah. So hopefully we can see so far things are going great. Then we continue further. We continue further. 12 times 4 is 48y. You take the negative 27, you distribute it to the 100, you distribute it to the negative 3y. What's a negative 27 times 100? Negative times a positive is obviously going to give us a negative, but that's 27 times 100. Do we know? So negative 2700, then negative times negative is positive 27 times 3. Do you know what 27 times 3 is? Okay, it's 81. 81y equal to 144. So we have 48y. We add the like terms. 144 plus 2700. Now we have like terms there to add. So 48 129y that's 2700 plus 144. That gives us. Then we divide both sides by 129. What does that give us? Y is equal to, because we divide both sides by 129. Okay. That's our y value. Can we simplify it any further? You just check in your calculator. If your calculator will simplify this fraction to something simpler. If it does, then you write that simpler fraction. If it doesn't, you leave it like that. And after doing so, you go and substitute the y value. Okay, you guys tell me in the comment section if it simplifies to anything less than this or anything simpler than this. Or then you substitute y is equal to into equation 3, which you have prepared. So we're going to say x is equal to 100 minus 3. In the place of that y, we write 2844 over 129 over 4. You put this into your calculator. You tell me guys in the comment section what answer you got for x. Alright, and then you tell me in the comment section as well what was the simplification of 2844 over 129, if there was any. So this is simultaneous equation, guys, and I hope you guys learned something here, a thing there or two. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a good day. I have to bounce. It was good.